Welcome to the Big Biz Show. Taking care of business. You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we welcome you to another edition of the Big Biz Show. We are live in Southern California, in the Loft 100 studios, and as we like to say around these here parts,
no, we don't.
Big old howdy to you.
Oh, it sings. That
That's
is the day. Trader
2026
trio.
That's all changing.
Costa, Mary Bert Godwin, and of course Sully back here at the bar.
Yeah. Happy Hanukkah.
Oh yes,
everyone.
It is that time.
Sure, I kept it.
You nailed them all.
Everybody. Did I miss something? It gets longer.
It does.
Yeah. It gets longer every year because I want to make sure we're including everyone.
I think we're touching.
Look at our set is all decorated.
So
it
nice.
Looks pretty good in here.
I think so too. And even the stairway to nowhere. This stuff.
That's right.
Big hello to the Day Trader trio again.
Hello.
See you guys. Hey, let's start off the show program. There is an interest rate cut to talk about. Let's check to Howie Font, our analyst here from New York City, to figure that out, and also more news on your streaming services. Howie, so did we get the cut? Are we getting the cut? Is the cut over? Is that all there is? I guess is the question.
We have a cut, and this time tomorrow we'll have the announcement. It's probably going to be a cut. It's probably going to be a quarter point cut. And it might be what it takes to get the market over the 7,000 level, which is kind of psychological, but will be interesting to see if it
You're talking about the S&P, of course.
The S&P's at 6,800 and change right now. You want a little boost, assuming everyone's done with their tax loss harvesting, which and NVIDIA has some good news. We could see 7,000, which is a really crazy way to end the year.
You know, it's interesting, and that's a psychological thing. It means literally nothing. I mean, I remember when I first got into radio, the Dow Jones just crossed 10,000. They brought bales of money, like shredded money, into the studio. So now the studio smells like a barn. I mean, not really a bad barn, because you ever smelled used money? Don't smell used money, because it's. But I remember when we hit 10,000, it was a huge mark. But if you think to get from 10,000 to 11,000 is quite a feat. To get from 39,000 to 40,000 is not that big of a deal if you think about it.
No, it's not. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. I mean, it used to mean something when the S&P went up 100 points because, if you think about it, in 2008, the kind of death knell was the S&P hit 666. That was the drop.
Right, exactly.
That was 2008-9. And, now we're sitting here saying, when's it going to hit 7,000? So each point kind of matters less and less.
Now, there's the old adage, buying the rumor, selling the news. Yep. Has the market baked in this already? And if it doesn't happen, are we in for some trouble?
Yeah, I think it's pretty well baked in. I think they'll use it as a moment, its confirmation as a moment to just see a little bit more buying at the top. I mean, we are frothy, okay? That's just how markets go. There's a business cycle. Everybody look it up. We go a little bit too hot, and then we go a little bit cold. And, you take the average, and that's how the economy is actually doing. And we always say it, but the market's not the economy. The economy is not the market. So I think the market's a little frothy at these levels, but that's okay. It's natural.
Let's talk about Netflix and Warner Brothers and or I think Warner Brothers Disney now it's called, I believe. I'm saying WBD or something like that.
Warner Brothers Discovery.
Discovery.
Yeah, after they merged with Discovery.
Yeah, Disney's still DIS if I'm not mistaken. But so talk about that merger and what that means, because this is a huge windfall. If you own any shares of this stock,
oh my God,
you're going to get a nice chunk of change.
Yeah, it's definitely the deal of the year, and it has the whole market is watching it just to see how the consolidation goes with so many companies. I mean, all the people that are playing in this space, including Apple, by the way, have to watch and see how this kind of marks assets to market. And just as a funny note, I've been laughing. Paramount has been trying to get in on this deal, and they have a story later. That we'll talk about, but I just think it's funny that Larry Ellison's trying to buy Batman for his son David. And, most people get a Batman T-shirt or a toy when they're young.
No,
but,
literally Batman.
Remember, he bought the whole island of Lanai, if I'm not mistaken. Also.
Yes, exactly.
Because I think the Disney movie. So if you own let's just say you own 100 shares of WBD stock. Okay, what is the current price of that stock, Howie? Can you look at the symbol real quick on your thing? I can tell you, you would get each share for every share you own. How about this? Let's say that your 401k, you have 1,000 shares. Okay, let's say you're in your middle 50s. Right. Let's say you guys are well heeled and your money manager has got you well diversified, and you just happen to own 1,000 shares of WBD. You end up with $23,000 cash. You end up in $4,500 worth of Netflix stock on top of that.
That's exactly right, yeah.
I mean, it's an amazing, I've not seen a deal like this almost ever. I mean,
and by the way, there is going to be a RemainCo at the end of this deal that says, you're going to have shares in that too. Whatever
the new co is, right? Yeah, RemainCo, exactly. You're right, RemainCo. Yeah. Whatever the subsequent entity is, correct?
Because Netflix doesn't want it. Netflix doesn't want the cable channels, so that's going to be left, and then all the IP, the studios from Warner Brothers, is going to be a Netflix property. So they'll have, Harry Potter and Game of Thrones and everything HBO has.
Or as my mom liked to call it, Game of Thongs. Me and your father watching Game of Thongs over a bottle of $2.
That's late
Mom,
night on Cinema.
Please tell me that you're watching the same program as everybody else. Howie, I think a big story here is that RemainCo that you're talking about, because Netflix doesn't want what again? They don't want the cable channels, right? Is this the on-ramp to that story where every single cable company or satellite TV company or every other terrestrial broadcast cable firm turns into an internet provider, whereby there are no terrestrial options for you other than when CBS streams online, NBC streams online? I mean, right now, I'm to the point where I can actually trust that I don't have to have my cable working to be able to watch every single football game, including the Super Bowl, because of my NFL Sunday ticket.
100%.
And so on and so forth. Are we getting close to that?
I think that's how it kind of needs to be. I mean, we're in an on-demand ecosystem now. That's how people want to watch things. Actual live television viewership has been nothing but shrink since the early 2000s, and this is a game of eyeballs. Netflix is competing with live sports, of course, and that's going to have to be, like you said, split up into its own separate subscription model. I think that's kind of the ultimate way that's going to hedge out. And people don't need 1,000 channels. They need a lot of options, but they want to watch what they want to watch when they want to watch it.
We got to talk about the legal part of this thing. DOJ's got to approve this whole thing, right? Because it's all about antitrust, correct?
That's some of the most interesting part of the deal making, because after last Friday, when the Netflix Discovery or Warner Brothers Discovery deal was announced that they were going to do that, Netflix has been sending out emails to subscribers saying nothing's going to change it, but we did this deal. So they're acting like they're moving forward. Then Monday, David Ellison, Larry Ellison's son, that's the CEO of Paramount now, comes over the top and offers $30 a share cash. We don't have to deal with stock. I don't know RemainCo. I want the whole thing. Give it to me. And now the board and the shareholders of Warner Brothers Discovery have to really consider that in a shareholder vote.
So this could be, so what it could mean is that Netflix could owe about $6 billion at the end of the day. That's a big divorce.
Huge.
Can you guys just tell me if I can still order my DVD in the red envelope that says Netflix? That's all I want. Thanks, Howie.
Still doing that, aren't you?
Howie Font, Big Biz Show, market analyst, best in the business. All right, keep it right here. There is much more to come with the Big Biz Show. See you in a minute. Loft 100 Studios, the Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering up public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyentgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show rolls on. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we appreciate you tuning in to this wonderful program. Day Trader Trio on our very festive-looking holiday stage. Best in the business. Of course, back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Marybird Godwin, and it is Sully.
Great to have you along today, and we haven't talked about that hedge against inflation for some time. Of course, gold. You know, it's so funny. You should probably have in your balanced portfolio a little bit of precious metal.
Yep.
And by the looks of Mary, who's dripping in it today, she's invested not in the. Look at her. She's invested in the physical.
These are actually real. These are from my mom.
Oh, those
they
are awesome.
set off the metal detector. That's my only real thing I think I own.
Anybody got a machete?
Didn't we have did a shareholder get a hold of us about?
Yes, and you know, we're talking precious metals, and this guy is, you know, dialed in, as they say. Fred Earnest is the president and CEO of Vista Gold Corp, and their ticker symbol is VGZ, and we welcome him to the Big Biz Show. Fred, thank you so much for your time today. Happy holidays. How are you?
I'm very well. It's good to see all of you.
You as well.
There he goes. Hey, so I don't think in the history of this show we've ever talked about a gold operation in the Northern Territory of Australia. I think it's as surprising as when we just started cracking open the wine from Australia that there's actually gold in Australia. Talk about that a little bit, what you guys are doing, because you have a pretty big scalable project there.
We do. We own the Mount Todd Gold Project, which is Australia's second largest undeveloped gold project, and it's the largest gold project not in the hands of a producer right now. We have about 10.6 million ounces of total resource gold in the ground. Wow. And we're really excited. Earlier this year, we completed a feasibility study, a complete rethink of this particular project. We scaled it down. Contrary to many people, with the rising gold price, we decided to raise the cutoff grade. So the gold grade has gone up simply on the notion that grade pays and tons cost, and as a result, we've been able to lock in some really, I think, exceptional project economics at a very conservative gold price of $2,500, which is way below the gold price that we see today.
Sure. You know, it's interesting, Fred. I think a stamp of sort of validity for you is when a gold royalty company comes in and does a financing. They don't, you know, gold royalty companies are at the top of the food chain. And for guys like you, of course, that's the life's blood to investment banking. And when they do that, it's almost as much of a check mark as that geological study that you did. Because without that, and you got a lot of smart guys that finance these things, without that, it sort of tells us that you guys have really something here at the tip of the spear in terms of what you guys were thinking was going to happen, in terms of what's actually happening. It's pretty good news.
Yeah, we're really excited to have a relationship with Wheaton Precious Metals. I can certainly vouch for the fact that they do a lot of due diligence before they make investments, and we feel that it's in many ways a validation of the work that we've done, and certainly it opens the door to future financing if that's the path that we want to pursue as we seek to put this project into construction.
Fred Earnest, President, CEO of Vista Gold Corp, ticker symbol VGZ. Fred, has Australia always been thought of as, hey, you know, there's gold and them are hills?
Or is it just the bloomin' onions on the side of the road that we
You know, Australia is one of the world's largest gold producers, and it's always been a big part of their economy has always been resource driven. You know, Australia exports a tremendous amount of iron ore and coal, and has always had a very viable gold industry. It's been focused in Western Australia, with some production coming out of the Northern Territory. And with the Mount Todd Project, we certainly aim to boost the amount of gold being produced in the Northern Territory.
If you think in terms of partners, I think the initials CIBC are pretty good one. You want to talk about the partnership with CIBC and this, because obviously there's another stamp of approval for you that sort of makes me think that we need to take this very seriously.
Yes, we've had a long-standing relationship with CIBC Capital Markets. We've retained them to help us in the search for a potential partner, and they've been just really, really great to work with. The team in Australia is really well knowledgeable in the Australian mining space. Obviously, they have a tremendous office and team in Toronto, and so we're able to take advantage of global outreach through our relationship with CIBC.
Fred Earnest, President and CEO, Vista Gold Corp, ticker symbol VGZ as in zoo.
Hey, Fred, gold was in fashion in terms of investment fashion about 10 years ago. Then you guys fell out of favor a little bit. Now you're coming back. What do you think in terms of overall market right now? Obviously, I still think gold's undervalued. I think you probably know it's undervalued right now. In terms of the hedge against inflation, I think gold was the one place, the one door at the end of the street that people could hide behind for a while. But then all of a sudden, the real value of gold, I think, got lost in terms of how valuations are done. I think there's a lot to run here, in my own opinion. What do you think about the future of gold here coming up for 2026?
I think I could best answer that question by repeating what our largest shareholders view as. Sun Valley Gold has the view that we're in a long-term bull cycle on gold, and that we're likely to see a 20% improvement in gold price per year sustained over the next 5 years. And that's we share that view. I think that what we've seen so far is just the start of a very strong and sustained gold bull market.
Fred Earnest, President, CEO of Vista Gold Corp, ticker symbol VGZ.
You got to come back as our gold expert.
Please. Their massive Mount Todd project down there in Australia, extracting gold and blooming onions hand over fist. Like it's nothing. All right, keep it right here. Much more to come with the Big Biz Show right after this. To the Day Trader Trio on stage, best in the business back here at the bar. It is Costa, Fairbairn Godwin, and it is Sully.
What a perfect time of the year to understand the anatomy of abundance. My latest book, you may have seen it here on Amazon.com. Passing out to all of our guests.
I love it. Patrina Wisdom, founder and CEO, Pure Abundance Incorporated, best-selling author, podcaster, investor, creator, keynote speaker, creator,
and purveyor of boots that have orange soles.
Her boots.
I don't know,
your boots are awesome.
Fabulous outfit.
Can we get those?
I can't even stand it.
Those are awesome.
Well, the best part is that it matches the book.
Well, you have to be on brand.
Yeah, I think you do. 100%. First of all, welcome back to the studio. I'm so glad to see you. And this whole new wealth paradigm for women that you talk about. As a father of two daughters, who I tried my best to raise them as boys, and I pity the fools. I pity the fools. My son-in-law is a perfect example of the perfect person for my daughter, in that just steady Eddie, and so. But obviously a great supporter of everything she does. But when I told her about this wealth paradigm for women, I remember, and she's a doctor. I remember, all she ever wanted to do was be rich. And then she started realizing, well, but I don't really want to work. Okay, so this age 15, right? And then all of a sudden, 67, then she realizes the value of study and the value of getting into it, getting into sort of the rhythm of whatever defines success for you. Mm-hmm. Talk about this anatomy of abundance, because abundance is the same for everybody, is it?
No, absolutely not. And that's actually the message that I'm sending, is that even the word success is something different to everybody. One person's success might be determined by how much money they have in their account. Another person's success might be how great of a mother they are, right? So there's a scale, there's a range. The way that I defined abundance is creating a life that feels as good as it looks on the outside.
Ooh, that's interesting. No, I mean, that's fantastic, because I guess in my terms, at some point, I figured out money was like fun tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the more fun tickets I had, the more usable days I could have spending my fun tickets. But then, of course, we were talking to Dan Negroni about his new book, and for our parents, it was getting to the point where they could stop working and retire.
Right.
I think it all changes for everybody.
Totally.
Because for me, that abundance for me is, God, I hope I'm still doing this at age 85, and I'm still relevant at it at age 85.
You nailed it too. Is the growth how old we are? I mean, I think it's men versus women is probably something you notice, right? And then also how old we are. When we're younger, it's one thing, and then when we get a little older, when we realize
it's so funny to watch that too.
You know,
there's
kids
a lot of
family.
I mean, you're right in the middle of that, Mary, with one daughter in college and one daughter about to go to college. You're seeing that because it's really interesting what was important to them at first. Where it was like, you know, I just want to be rich, but I don't want to really work that hard. And now, the one that said that went to school for what, 10 years?
Wow.
After saying that, it's interesting because, and that's so valuable to her, more than the paycheck. Although, you know, they got it figured out as traveling doctors. If I could go back.
I think at its essence, it's a matter of scarcity, right? Whether you're functioning and creating from a place of scarcity, or if you're functioning and creating from a place of abundance. If you came from parents who struggled, they may have gone over and above, right, to create a different kind of a life for you. And then you get to determine based on who you are, what your core values are, what you want to create.
But you talk about over-functioning.
Yeah,
so talk
a lot.
Let's talk to me, sis.
So talk about that. That's a big deal, and I don't think people understand what that is.
Yes. So obviously, I am a woman. Have you not noticed, right? And these days, you never know. So I got to say, but
either you're really flamboyant.
No, but the thing is, as women, we are naturally going to overfunction because we carry this invisible workload that I think we only recently started talking about, right? So no matter what the roles in the home is, normally if it's traditional, the man's earning the money, the wife is taking care of the kids, but things have been turned on their heads. Women are in the workforce. We're also taking care of the family. And when something comes up, a decision needs to be made, plans need to be made, something needs to be fixed, who do we go to?
The mom.
Right, mom.
Yep.
Listen,
and so we are literally hoisted into a position where our nervous system is going crazy because we're being pulled in so many different
plus, you know, and as a father of two daughters, you know, you guys developed a system of the Heisman, you know, because we're sniffing around about age 13.
Yeah.
And you develop this, you have to develop this cautionary thing at the same time, which is very real. I'm in the middle of putting a book together called Grown Man.
Love it. What is that, by the way? No, I'm just
very
kidding.
short.
It's a unicorn.
Does that exist?
We don't know what that means.
The first two lessons are very simple. Lesson number 1, never enter or exit the pool by the stairs. You're a grown man. Number 2, I can probably save every man in this world years of heartache. They're probably right. I'm just here to say, they're probably...
But really good at letting us be right.
Yeah.
And they're going to say that, and you're going to say nothing. Because even though you just said,
they're the smart man.
But it's true. I mean, I came up during my 3/4 life crisis. I came up with this, and it's true. Where you just said who do we all turn to? Hey, Mayor.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
I mean, honestly, and you know, we affectionately call her Den Mother, but it's that thing that you people.
Well, it's funny that is the thing because that is this term that I've gotten here. I'm one of the only females here, and it was like I do a lot of different things, a lot of different hats, but Den Mother is the one that encapsulates it all.
But let me say this though.
It's glue that holds it all together.
Not only to all of us cavemen, and guys, but let me finish my thing about they're probably right because our needs are few. Little golf on Sunday.
Yep.
Sandwich.
Yep.
Maybe a flyby really close as she's heading to the kitchen. Yep. I think we're good. You know, so at some point, but
there's some others that aren't fit for TV. but I'm following you.
But the point is, you also seem to like that role, not as a chief role, but you embrace that role too. Now, I don't know.
Natural.
Is that a genetic thing?
I mean, it is part of who I am.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a female thing.
Right.
It's partly female, and it's just, it's who I am. I enjoy it. I'm good at it.
Now, does that ever get in the way? Does that ever get in the way of the new wealth paradigm for women? Does that?
Absolutely. That's actually what gets in the way, because we're so programmed to carry it all that we don't make room for ourselves. So most women are secretly disconnected from themselves. They're not confident in a lot of ways, right? We doubt ourselves so much. We're so hard on ourselves in everything. We become over-functioning, overachieving, perfectionists. And when we miss one thing, we feel like the whole world's going to crumble.
my God.
And it's going to be our fault.
It's so true.
Yeah,
we may not. Missed 4 before our second pee last night at 10 p.m. let me ask you something.
Y'all are used to it because you've been at it, grinding and making mistakes for.
You have a methodology, though.
I do.
You have a
yes.
6-step methodology.
Yes.
And without spilling all the beans completely, talk about how people can move from scarcity to abundance, or from frustration to satisfaction, or from non-usable days to more usable days, or less fun tickets to more fun tickets.
I love it. Thank you for that question. So I love to study people, males, females, everything, whole spectrum. And one of the things I've noticed is that certain genders function more in a maybe analytical, more strategic space. Others might be more feely, right? Things of that nature. And so what the Anatomy of Abundance does essentially is it brings together what I like to call the higher laws, the mindset, the psychology, spirituality, and the feels, together with strategy and grounded planning, essential, like implementation. Mm-hmm. And so to me, that is the sweet spot where you get to create the abundance, but not abundance that's gonna feel like a prison.
Patrina Wisdom, founder, CEO of Pure Abundance Inc., best-selling author, podcaster, keynote speaker, investor, creator of the Anatomy of Abundance framework, Pure Abundance Incorporated. Awesome
and
stuff.
Fun cultivator. We got that.
Cultivator of fun. All right, keep it here. Much more to come to the Big Biz Show right after this. Big Biz Show continues. We are inside the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California. Of course, that is the incredibly talented day trader trio, best in the business, no lessons, self-taught. Back here at the bar, it is Costa, it is Mary Godwin, and of course, it is Sully as the show continues.
That is what ChatGPT and AI will do for you. You got 15 minutes a night spare. You guys all started together, what, about 6 months ago?
Yeah, pretty good. 6 minutes ago.
Dan Negroni, my good friend here, dannegroni.com, CEO, coach, consultant, chief launch officer, very close friend, changed my life many years ago in a number of ways. And now author of a second book.
Okay.
Number 2. Number two, really exciting. This one, though, I had AI help, actually. AI wrote part of this book.
Find Your Workverse.
Yeah.
And
what is
this young man here, Andrew Martinez?
He found his Workverse.
I did.
Reading the book.
So talk about the book first.
Yeah, what is the Workverse?
Yeah, so the Workverse is what we're calling the new workplace, which is what everyone has to navigate, kind of like the universe. And it is broad and it is wide, given AI and given technology. It's just a crazy place. And so finding your Workverse is how Gen Z figures out how they fit in the world of work, which is so different now. And it's broken into 3 steps really clearly. One is understand what the Workverse is, right? Like get a real dose of how tough it is out there and how different it is out there. Number 2 is find yourself within it, figure out your strengths, your motivations, build a plan, figure out who you want to be in the Workverse. And then section 3 is how do you hack it using tools like AI, using tools like communication, using all those things. And so it's more of a playbook than a narrative.
It's, this new work model that you talk about is something that, remember how poised our kids were because we had computers. Remember how poised we were because we were mass communicating because we had encyclopedias and we could go to one place like a library and you could watch video on something. This is the, I don't remember who said it. Well, one thought leader said, well, now that we invented the mouse, there's really no more technology over that. Yeah. And what this kind of tells me is we're at the tip of the spear here. As much as we feel like we're in it, it can only make me think, what's next?
Tip of the spear, and it's crazy. Think about what Gen Z has to deal with. the addiction to the device and growing up with the device and attention deficit disorder, we're all addicted to it, but they grew up with that. Economic stability is different, to buy a home, to figure out those things. The advent of AI changing all the rules, and then they want more out of life. They're smart, they want purpose and meaning and this thing that we still have not discovered, work-life balance. And they come to the workplace and it's just a shit show.
Hey Andrew, how important is digital fluency in getting a job these days?
No, it's everything.
Because I will tell you how many times I asked Trace, young Trace, who's not that young, or my daughters, how do I get silent my phone during the show?
Oh God! No kidding.
Or
Still doesn't know.
How do I make it so my screen doesn't go dark when I have the stock symbols up? I mean, obviously I'm being analogous here,
right.
But digital fluency is as important as that degree. As experience, right?
Yeah, exactly. And being a Gen Z, it's kind of just standard, right? Whenever there's a tech issue, even in my job now, I'm kind of the go-to person, right? I'm expected to know how to resolve that issue. So I think in all aspects of your job, being a Gen Z, you're kind of required to be tech savvy. I couldn't imagine being a Gen Z.
Where are you working right now? You don't have to say the name, but what field?
I'm in digital marketing.
Okay.
Yeah.
How important is...
Because you just got hired by Mike.
Exactly.
Yeah, there we go.
Thank you. Sorry,
nice.
That's okay.
How important is physical comfort in your workverse? We've seen the pictures of the Google campus, and bring your dog, and there's coffee and cookies and an
working
app
from
space.
home too.
As Mike sits in this sumptuous.
I was going to say, hey, I'm very comfortable. But part of it is it's not just cubicles and terrible fluorescent lights. How important is that?
It's huge. Right now in my job, my company, we do a great job of that. We have a great culture, a great environment, and we really do adopt the hybrid modality. So we're in office about 3 or 4 days a week.
Okay.
Sometimes we even will work remote 2 or 3 days a week, depending on if it's a holiday week. So especially for me and other Gen Zs out there, and even though we're having kids now, Gen Zs are getting to the age where we have kids. It's really important for them to be able to work from home.
It's so when our parents were working, they were trying to get to age 55. Seriously, and then they retire, and then they go on vacation once a year. They sit and they play golf or whatever.
To Florida.
Yeah, and then I think somewhere along the line, our generation started recognizing the use for usable days. Okay, I started retiring as Dan did many years ago, or living like our parents retired. I don't know that I'll ever stop working, just because it's different. For you guys, is it about a usable days mentality? Is there ever retirement in your future? I mean, if you get a massive exit, you're not stopping.
Yeah.
So what's the horizon look like? Because I remember out of college, $50,000, had to get $50,000 a year, class of 1983. I got it made. I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to retire at age whatever. That doesn't even come to your realm anymore.
Yeah, I think every Gen Z is different. I think social media is a big part of that with the comparison aspect. You kind of you're seeing a highlight reel of what everybody sees on a daily basis, right? So that maybe can be an incentive for you to pursue further things in your career, or even look further down the road.
But as far as down the road goes, what's down the road look like to most Gen Zers in your opinion? Is it do you ever leave the workforce? Because in my opinion,
I think it's a challenge because there are no rules.
Yeah.
And so you don't, the answer is, I don't know. I don't know, right?
Yeah.
Well, and now you can do work from the golf course. Is that kind of what you're saying?
Always could. You always had that figured out.
But I mean, now you don't have to be in the cubicle.
You didn't have to answer it.
You can work from Florida. You can work from your vacation spot, right? I mean, it's a little bit different.
What's funny, my daughter's a graphic designer, illustrator for a very big company and makes a crap ton of money, where I thought when she was an art major, I'd have to employ her forever. And it turns out that graphic design was one of those fields that everybody has, including music, film, videos, work. And what I'm finding that she lives in Minneapolis, her main work's in Portland. She's never gonna have to go. She could live anywhere she wants.
Yep.
Right.
What I want to know is, what can we get out of this book if you're crusties like us, and what do you get out of this book when you're young enough to become an entrepreneur?
I'll answer the crusty and then let him answer what do real people get out of it. So the last chapter in the book is, how do you navigate supporting and mentoring and coaching this great young generation that finds itself with all these challenges, and work is different and life is expensive and there's so many stresses, and even though you're working remote, you're not with people, and you want to be with people, and young people should be out there with people and meeting and connecting. So, and we don't know what the future is going to bring, and everything's so uncertain, and they have to lean into it. We crusties need to understand that about them, and understand they're here. They have great value, although it's different than ours, and they come to it differently. They want to go really deep, not very broad, but they're super malleable, and they just want to be coached. So get off your butt and help them and talk to them and together we actually can crush it.
Andrew, what do you think we can out of this book?
Yeah, so chapter 11 is actually one of my favorite chapters in the book. It actually tells you how to interact with different generations, right? So if I'm approaching a boomer, for example, there's a whole different way I should approach them versus if I'm approaching a Gen Z, right? Gen Zs are much digital. Maybe they can shoot a Slack or a Teams message. A boomer, you probably want to go face-to-face and in person. I think chapter 11 does a really
What about a boomer who just doesn't like people and don't want to go face-to-face?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's what he's saying is, look, you come through school, you tell them, and you don't. No one gives you the rules unless you happen to sit in my class or have to deal with me. No one tells it to you straight about what works like, what you got to do, how you have to show up. That you have to be different. You have to find the hero of your audience is the hero of everything you say is an audience. They got to figure that out.
Stay here. The name of the book is Workverse. Actually, it's sort of
Find Your Workverse.
Find Your Workverse.
A playbook for Gen Z to thrive at work.
Talking about more what the book gives readers, and it was interesting when we first talked about this, Dan, 10 years ago. It was about how the youngins need to realize that old school mentality is here, but the old school mentality had to realize that they're coming up. I think we've been taken over. We're going to tell you when exactly Andrew Martinez is going to put us out to pasture and when to expect that last retirement check. Big Biz Show, bigbizshow.com. See you in a minute. Loft 100 Studios, The Big Biz Show, and our affiliates and our hosts are not registered investment advisors or broker-dealers.
Our show hosts make no commitment that the purchase of securities of companies profiled or otherwise mentioned in our programming
are suitable or advisable for any person, or that an investment in such securities will be profitable in general.
Given the nature of the company's profile and the lack of an active trading market for the securities, investing is highly speculative and carries a certain high degree of risk.
We profile selected publicly traded and privately held companies on our program.
Most of these companies that we profile have provided compensation to Loft 100 Studios and its hosts for the profile coverage.
From time to time, we sell shares of the companies profiled in the open market that we receive as compensation for coverage of client companies.
But never sell stocks if we are speaking about interviewing or covering a public company who has paid compensation.
Specific questions on compensation can be obtained by contacting producer at sullyantgroup.com.
Listeners should verify all claims and do their own due diligence before investing in any securities mentioned on this program.
Investing in securities is speculative and carries a high degree of risk.
We encourage our investors to invest carefully and read the investor information available at the websites on the
Securities and Exchange Commission at sec.gov and or the Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, FINRA, at www.finra.org.
I like it.
Hey, is that a rescue plane?
Big Biz Show. We're in sunny Southern California inside the Loft 100 Studios, as you can see. It's holiday season here. Most wonderful time of the year. That's the Day Trader Trio. Always wonderful to have them with us. Always wonderful to have you with us as well. Back here at the bar, of course, it is Sully, it is Mary Godwin, and it is me. Little angel atop the tree. Pasta. If you want to find out how to thrive in your workplace or where the future workplace is, there's your book for you right here. Find Your Workverse, available everywhere books are sold. And Coach Marley, talk about Coach Marley really quickly about
So
this.
Coach Marley helped us with the book. There are 400,000 people that it went to talk to, 395,000 to be exact, 80,000 Gen Zs over 23 years. Remember, you guys did your motivations?
Yeah.
So it took all those motivations and all that data. I think it's almost 2 million points of data. Oh my God. And so when we were writing the book and believing the content and talking to young people about what the playbook they need is, we'd go back to that database. And Coach Marley, actually with AI, helped us shape the writing for the book. So it's actually the first book to be written with AI intentionally to help this next generation based on the data about this generation.
So you would take something that you wrote and then you would upload it to Marley and say, is this accurate, and provide data points to prove or disprove, or how did that work?
Yeah, so we have this great editorial development person who actually looked at all the content that we were doing and managed their relationship with AI, with Coach Marley, every time that we were going for a chapter. So if we're going right to chapter 1, we're we're putting across all the data about how Gen Z behaves when we're doing chapter 11, like Andrew was talking about. We're looking about how do we get the data of what's important for a Gen Z to know about a boomer so they could have a great conversation in terms of their motivations. So so written with AI. Very interesting process.
That's cool.
Very different for me.
I have a 281-month-old who lives in my house.
I was going to ask about him.
Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great.
Okay.
But and Andrew, this is for you. I still, tell him, listen, he's working now, but when you're looking for the job, look them in the eye, shake hands, talk to them, don't look down at your phone, blah blah blah. Is that universal across the board? You understand that there's just some things that have to be adhered to if you're going to continue to move on?
That's kind of old school.
Well, it is old school, but I don't think it ever becomes out of school.
Right.
It's connection school.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, great point.
Yeah, I think my generation kind of has historically been known to be more introverted, and whether you want to blame social media or you want to blame the smartphones,
Sure, I understand.
I think it may be definitely a lost art for some people. I think that goes a long way, right? If you're a young person and you're shaking their hand, you're looking them in their eye, I think that can really set you apart in today's world.
What's defining success now in terms of work relationship between employer-employee, in your opinion?
Defining success, I think it's it's a two-way street, as we talked about when we were talking about millennials, and each side has to understand the others. I think the defining challenge these days is really how to really understand the value that Gen Z brings, because they're great. I mean, you guys know when we had the whole class here, the energy, and you're like, oh my God, I'm hopeful. Right. This is awesome. All these things they talk about, they're not true. And they are great, and they have to uncover their skills. That's what the first part of the book does, is really, it's okay. And then figure out what their superpowers are, and then learn to connect. And we don't do a lot of teaching of how to connect to them. And then when they get to the workplace, we're like, how come they can't connect?
Yeah.
Right? It's kind of a crazy thing. In my classes, when we work together, I teach connection, because I think it's the most important life work skill, relationship building.
I've asked you this a bunch. I'm going to ask you this, Andrew, in regards to AI as not as a threat, but as a partner, as a teammate, as a tool. Talk about that. Why? I'm sure the same conversation had to be had when they figured out that the assembly line for the Ford plant back in 1922. At the same time, people are scared to death.
Yeah.
Most of them our age and up, in terms of losing their jobs, losing the ability to feed their families and such, because this AI threats overhead. We always seem to be malleable in terms of the outcome. But don't you think the narrative really needs to be teaching people that it is a partner? Because for me, I can't live without it now. Yeah. And it's not just University of Google, like Google ended up being after a while. It really is a partner in terms of what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, so I will say AI won't completely replace you, at least in my role in marketing. AI will help you be more productive. AI, being a one-person marketing team, it's like my marketing director, right? If I have a question related to an ad or something, I'll pop it in there and it'll give me direct feedback, right? So I think that's definitely an improvement that many of my generation needs to do, and we're actually teaching it in schools. At Cal State San Marcos, we're implementing AI in our courses. We're actually encouraging our students to use it in their coursework.
What does it do to creativity?
It helps with the content creation aspect, right? So it can give you social media post ideas. It gives you ad copy. It even generates pictures and posts.
I would also say they're almost Grammy Award-winning country music, if you can see what's going on right now, right?
Do you use all of them, or just ChatGPT, or which ones?
Yeah.
Or Perplexity, is that the one that you like?
Yeah. So ChatGPT for generative text, Perplexity for research, and then Copilot just because I use Microsoft Edge and it's right there.
Where does Claude, Marley, Perplexity, you just explained Perplexity, but is Claude and Marley, where do those guys, where do they fit in the categories?
Well, Marley's a small model language with unique proprietary data from all these assessments.
And that's the one that we have the assessments on, correct?
That's what we did the assessments in. That works together with large language models and then corporate proprietary information too. And then it all works together. But the biggest challenge with AI is just putting something in and not testing it. So it's garbage in, garbage out. Sure. You really have to be good. When he's talking about working with it creatively, you have to push back and say, hey, chat, I don't think so. What are the holes in this? What do you think could be better? What am I not looking at? Do you think you did enough research? Do you think, so you got to really, really jump on that. And these guys are great at it, making it a friend.
Yeah, prompt engineering.
The book is Find Your Workverse with Humans with Purpose. Michelle Duvall, Dan Negroni with Coach Marley as well. Dan, Andrew, thank you so much for coming in studio with us.
You think you'll be back? I think so.
Yeah, please.
Let's bring the whole class back.
Exactly.
Let's sell some books, people.
Unfortunately, this episode of the Big Biz Show will not be back. It is over. Thank you so much for being along with us. We will see you next time.